we were discussing about device overview yesterday, right now. So only this page we discuss, right? So then the next page, this is pin diagram, right? So this pin diagram, I believe this is for 16F7XA. Maybe for 7A, it will be different. This is not for 7A. Yeah, this is 877A. So this is the pin diagram for the chip that we are going to use in our project. Right. Why we have to know pin diagram? Only then you can make the external interface properly. You can choose right pin to interface your hardware components. Right. So here are pins. So in among them, we have MCLR pin, right? Also a VPP pin. So this is probably a reset pin for this particular microcontroller. When you give an active load to this pin, your microcontroller will reset. By default, it is supplied with 5 volt right now, high voltage. That means operating voltage of microcontroller is supplied to this one. Right, this is first pin. 31st pin is for VSS. What is the VSS? VSS is ground. Right now, you have to connect. Whenever you buy a microcontroller, first thing is in order to power that microcontroller, you have to identify VDD or VPP. I think here it is, they are using the term VPP right now. So power and ground, these two pins are maybe, I think here 31 and 32 right now. This VPP is what? I think this is an active high. By default, it is in 5 volt. When we require, we can use that for reset. Right. Here we have VDD, VSS. This 32 and 31 should be supplied with 5 volt and ground. After supplying it, you can try small programs by flashing some small program in this controller, whether they are working. Right now, if they works, then you can proceed for next step. Right.
So this DD and VSS is like a power to the microcontroller, right?
Microcontroller, yeah. So if you don't supply that, it won't work. That is a very key thing. When you design boards, motherboards, when you design your own motherboard, it's not big rocket science actually. You can do, you have, if you do that in steps, even everybody can design a motherboard for controllers. That's very easy only. So you can use even first you can test the function in breadboard, then you can implement. So very first time when you buy a microcontroller, try to give VDD and VSS and check whether whether you are able to do a small programmings by powering the microcontroller. Right. I think microcontroller just powering microcontroller won't work things in the right way. You have to supply the clock as well. That we will study. I think we have to give a crystal oscillator. If we supply these three, automatically the microcontroller is activated, then it can perform tasks. Right. So then we have RA0, RA1. See here AN0, AN1. So there are two options available. What that really mean? So when you are using pin 2 as analog to digital converter input pin, in that time it is called as AN0. When you use the same pin for port IO to make a digital high or low, in that time it acts like a RA0. So you can get a analog signal input in this pin. Also you can output a digital output. Both are possible. Only thing is you have to make a proper configuration. How to do that, we will study that in upcoming sessions or in upcoming slides. Right. Then we have AN1 analog to digital converter input 1. So this is first input, this is second one. Whatever that I told, no, you can apply the same to this as well, right? There is no difference. Then we have pin 4, right? So here this pin 4 is multiplexed RA2 AN2. That means it can be used as a digital output pin or to receive the analog input 2, which is third analog input. You can receive with that. It can also be used to supply reference voltage. What is the reference voltage, where they are using it, what is the need of those V reference, CV reference. We will study that in detail later point of time. Right. Then we have RA3 and AN3. Right. This is the again fourth analog input pin and digital output pin. Then
Analog input to the ECU, right? So this one, microcontroller.
yeah, input to the microcontroller, yes.
Or it will give the, if you configure with RA3 means it will give the digital output.
Yes, if you configure that port pin, the fifth pin as an output pin, you can make a digital output.
Okay.
Digital output pin 5 volt ground, like that you can generate PWMs, like that you can make a digital outputs. Right. Those
So
can be no, yes.
like this can be this only configured by the software. Right?
I think there are register. I will detail how to do that. It's not a big rocket science. We have a easy procedure. We can look into that.
Okay, sir.
Right. Then we have RA4. This is digital output 4. See here there is no AN4. Only we have till now we had seen only 4 analog input. But when it comes to pin 6, it can only output a digital output, and then it can accept input to timer not clock input, which means that maybe they will accept a clock from the outside, right? For that it is they are using it. And then C out. What this C out means we will see that in time. Maybe comparator output one output, I believe. And then RFI AN4. So this is the fifth analog input. Again fifth digital output. Slave select. SS bar means slave select. When this may be helpful, maybe when we do this master slave communication, in that time it may help. So this pin can be multiplexed. Either it can be used as a digital output, analog input 5 to accept the analog input for digitization. It can also help to send out slave select signal. What does mean by slave select signal? When you have multiple slave, you want to select one slave among them. Slave means you will command them to do something. Digital components, when you want to command certain analog to digital converter DAC to do conversion, first you have to select the slave. You have to select it, and then only you can send command to that. Actually, it is an active low signal. When you want to use this pin as slave select, you have to make that pin as active low. Then comparator output 2. That is the another option that we have. Then RE not. So with this RA, port A is over. From A0 to A5, almost 6 bit. 6 pins are there. Those were associated with the port A. Now you may ask a question. Okay, we have 6 pins. What about remaining 2? That is not there. That is not implemented. Immediately they start with port E. Why don't they have port B here? Maybe there may be some reason for that. That's why they align like that. Port E not. That means we have 4 ports now. in that 4 A, B, C, D, E, port E, fifth port. In that fifth port, this is first bit. This can also be used as a slave read pin. That means when you want to give some sort of command, read command to your controller. What is mean by the read command? Actually, you will make that pin to active low. That's it. So you can use it when you interface a slave with this microcontroller. In that time, using pin 8, you can send a slave read command.